Hello and welcome to this new video in which we are gonna explore RIFFENDIUM bass. This is the first installment and it focuses on funk and soul styles. It includes different techniques like slap, fingerstyles and muting. We used 4 different bass guitars and also several bass pedals effects like envelope filters and synth bass pedals. For this instrument, we offer the ready-to-go amped version and a DI version with which you can use your favorite amp plugins and whatnot. So let's start by listening to some of the presets. As you might know already, each preset we've done includes several variations of patterns, so we are going to go through each of them. You can recall the patterns by clicking on these numbers over here, or by using Keyswitches from C0 to G0. There are some variations which sound more like bass lines and others which sound like little parts of solos that you can use at the end of a phrase or a sequence. You can change these patterns in the middle of a bar. It is, however, advised that your change of pattern happens just right before the trigger. So basically, if we want to change the pattern every bar, then we would have to do something like this. We would have to trigger the C1 or the D1 every bar. So now I'm just looping the C1 and I can just make the equals. So now at every start of each bar, the C1 note will be triggered. So I can change the pattern just slightly before the new bar starts. So before the 1. Bear in mind that we can also change some of these slices to make different patterns. So I'm going to start with pattern number 1. And I'm going to change a few things. We have lots of articulations here. So I'm going to replace, for example, this legato over here. I'm going to put again a root. Then I'm going to put another root here just to make it a little simpler. And what do we have here? A pluck note over here. That. And let's say that I like this pattern. I'm going to save it to the slot number 1. And now we'll be able to recall it by pressing C0 or the little memory slot 1 here. Bear in mind that when you want to use all these memory slots in a song, it's always good to record them by pressing the key switches. Because when you press the memory slots, those movements will not be recorded in your DAW. So now I'm going to alternate between slot 1 and the others. And I will consider slot 1 as my main bass line. Another thing I can do is just randomize the pattern and see what comes. Now for a little bit we can go through all the sound options that we have here. At the moment we are using a cabinet. Let's switch it off for a second and the sound will get a little bit slimmer. We can add a little bit of saturation. The bass will cut through a little bit better. Maybe a little chorus. So we turned a bass which was kind of big and good for slower parts to a bass which is very agile, very intelligible, even though the part is really busy with many notes. Let's explore for a little bit how to start from scratch a new preset. If we press on the B here of RIFFENDIUM bass, this writing will appear. So this means that all the effects have been bypassed and all the EQ and all the special effects like step effects and so on, they are all off. Now we can select any of these presets and you will see that each of these presets has a suggested tempo range. These are all audio loops, so Kontakt is striving to time stretch them in a way that they will fit the tempo of your song. But obviously we cannot time stretch above a certain limit like 50% or double speed. Those are kind of too extreme settings for an audio loop to be time stretched. We can select what type of loop we want. If we want like a clean sounding loop or with a filter or octaver or synth effects, or whether we want to have a slap technique or a muted, or also we can decide if we want to have a bass line that follows the chords or a bass line that is more like a riff. Octaves utility, which is very good for disco. This loop suggests to be played around 100 and 145 max. When you load a loop preset from the browser, you will not get any variation in the memory slots. All the slots will be reset for you to fill them up with your own variations. I can read this info box, which is always very useful. It tells me that in this green area, I will have staccato notes. In this blue area, I will have sustain notes. So the notes that I have here are playing in this area over here. So I will have to transpose them 2 octaves. So at this point, I can just edit my sequence or randomize it. I'm gonna save this pattern in my first location and then randomize and see what happens. Okay, this I would love to use it as a variation, so I will remember that I'm saving it on slot number 2. What else can happen? Oh, I love this one. 3 and one more. Okay, I like this one, but I'd like it to start from this slice. So to do so, I can select in the menu over here, start sequence from this articulation. So now I will start like that. So I will store this one on number 4. So now I can record memory slots changes by using the key switches from C0 to G0 here. I know that C0 will trigger my memory number 1, C# will trigger number 2. I need to play them just slightly before the note C1, which is the trigger, plays. also do something to the sound. I can add a little chorus, because I always like the bass to be slightly wider, and then add a cabinet which is much brighter, but I will put a little bit of the original bass sound in as well. At this point, you would save it as a new snapshot, and you would be able to recall it here in this list over there. We also have some mangled effects. I'm gonna play a few just to have some fun. RIFFENDIUM Bass is available now at audiofier.com. Thank you for watching this video. See you soon. Bye.